Hello, masses. Welcome to You Heard It Here. ... Eventually.
Don't forget the dots.
Yeah. Varying speeds.
Yeah.
The dots are entered, depending on the week, however we feel.
We're not doing. Oh, I guess we should do the name intro. Hi, I'm Vince.
Yeah, I'm Chris, aka Dragon.
We're not sound, or he's not sound too hot, and I look like someone beat the shit out of me. So yeah. I'm sure anyone can tell from my eye. It got real messed up this weekend. That's also why episode 4 was delayed. I went to Nashville for a bachelor party. Was a bunch of fun. First night we get there, we're like, you know what? We're gonna stay in today. So we start drinking a little bit. The bachelor, the groom, he brought some apple pie moonshine, and I was like, I've never had moonshine. I'm gonna try it. So I tried some. I was like, this is good. And then my go-to drink, Angry Orchard, always. It forever will be. I hate beer. I can't stand it. It tastes like liquid bread to me.
So it's all hard cider.
Yeah.
I actually can't drink that because I'm allergic to apples.
Oh, really?
Gives me heinous shits.
Well,
heinous.
My favorite flavor is a peach cider, but Angry Orchard is my go-to, like, because everyone has it. So we start drinking. We start playing a little beer pong. We play 9 games or we play 3 games. It's best 2 out of 3 every game. Every team I'm on, I lose. So the loser takes a shot, and that was pink lemonade vodka. So I'm mixing a bunch of stuff, which was problem number 1. They were all good individually, but mixing them was the problem. So I lose every game of that. I'm drunk at this point. At one point, I'm standing on a chair looking at the wall. I don't know why. At one point, I was dancing, and I never dance. If anyone knows me when I'm sober, I'm like the farthest away from dancing ever. And when I get drunk, I start moving and grooving. And so then, we move on. We start playing Mario Party. One of the people doesn't drink at all. So I was like, we played a rule that was 2, 3, and 4. Whoever got in those places has to take a shot. I said, if this guy who doesn't drink gets in 2, 3, or 4, the person who got into 4th has to take 2 shots. So we're like, okay, cool. Loser takes 2. I win the whole game. First place. I'm so drunk, I said, I'll take his shot for him. So then I took another one. Then we go to bed, midnight-ish. My room is spinning. Like, I don't know what's going on. No one's, they're all in a bedroom together. I'm in the living room alone on a pull-out couch. So I'm just spinning alone. Don't know what the fuck's going on. And that's at midnight. 5 in the morning, I'm like, I'm going to throw up. And the only bathroom is through the bedroom. So I go there, I throw up. We're all good. Got it out of my system. I'm like, I'm going to go back I brush my teeth. I'm going to go back to bed now. Then I, like 5:40, puke again. 6:20, puke again. Every 40 minutes on the dot, I'm puking. Like around the 6th time, I just puked bile. That's never happened to me before. Worst taste in my mouth ever.
Well, bile is just stomach acid, so yeah, it's burning the shit out of your throat and mouth.
Yeah. And then after the bile one, I was like, I need to get something in my stomach, so at least if I'm throwing up, I'm throwing up stuff that's in my stomach and not bile. I take 2 sips of water, 10 minutes later, throw that up. I couldn't even keep water down. So I think there was slight alcohol poisoning going on, which, I also realized the day after, I don't think I drank water that day at all. I think maybe I had some soda when we were driving down to Nashville. No water. So my 2 problems that night, I mixed too much stuff, and the eye patch is coming out. The watery eye.
Yeah, dude, my right eye. Well, my right eye is watering. So I'm just gonna. And I looked at my right eye. Looks like shit. I don't know why it's watering. I think that's just allergies, but it looks like shit. So yeah, here we go.
He's Kakashi now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I have my Sharingan.
I mixed 2. I have my Sharingan too. It's developing. So yeah, it was a bad time, and then I wasted my night out. So I didn't ruin the trip for myself because we still had a good time, but I wasted the night out drinking, home alone. So then when we went to Broadway Street and we went to some honky tonks or whatever the frick they're called, I had to stay sober, and because I tried to drink that night, I was like, I'm gonna try, have a good time, try to take a sip of alcohol. I took one sip. I was like, I can't tonight. So we go to this rooftop bar, and it's like a sardine. Like everyone's dancing, and I'm over here like this, not moving because I don't dance when I'm sober. And I was very uncomfortable for like an hour. But then like an hour later, I started loosening up. We started dancing a little bit, even though I was sober, and ended up having a good trip. But I popped the blood vessel during the puking, I assume, and that's my story. It was
Yeah.
a fun time. So why
Yeah,
are
my
you
story
dying?
for why I sound like shit's not as fun. Yes, so Zeus the puppy, he's been like, it feels like every other night he has diarrhea and he like cries in his crate, wakes me up. And when he has diarrhea, I'm like, it's probably gonna happen again. So I sleep out on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just sleeping in my air conditioner, because I have to leave it on. If I turn the AC off, Zeus will start panting and he'll start like biting his crate and trying to cool himself down. So I bite the bullet and I try to go under a blanket on the couch, but for like 4 of the last like 12 nights sleeping out on the couch in the AC, and then also not getting a ton of sleep. I think I might. And then yesterday, went into New York City for a team outing with my team, from work, and we went to a Mexican restaurant, and then we went out axe throwing, and like I'm cheering people on my team at axe throwing and
Mm-hmm.
shouting, and so I just like basically lost my voice. My throat is totally shredded from just nonstop dry air hitting my throat over and over again, and then just out in the city shouting
That'll do it.
at at an axe throwing place. Yeah. So yeah, but I didn't want to delay podcast, and then the eye thing is just out of nowhere. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I
Oh,
think
that
this is
was.
allergies. It
Oh.
won't stop watering. Yeah, that started like 2 hours ago, and
Oh,
like I've just been
gotcha.
like rubbing my eye ever since, just tapping it. And then I was looking at my camera, and I was like, "Wow, my right eye looks like shit." We'll just cover that up.
Yep.
Don't want to discuss the masses. But yeah, that's why I sound bad. Story.
Yeah, I lost my voice in Nashville, but it came back like 2 days later. But it was to the point where like I couldn't even form sentences. I was just like every 2 words I was cutting out. I talked to my dad. He's like, "Are you like in the hospital?" I was like, "I'm fine. I just can't talk."
Yeah. Yeah, my throat even yesterday toward the end of the night would start cutting out, where like I'm trying to say a word and all of a sudden just oh,
Yep.
yeah, like that, just
Hmm.
like totally stops coming out of your mouth no matter what you do.
Yep.
Yeah, I know them feels,
Um.
but yeah,
So I guess the big news for this pod is the games. We got a bunch of game announcements.
yeah, the
Um.
non E3 conferences that are
Yeah.
going on,
The
just a
non
bunch of
E3 E3.
makeup conferences. Yeah, a bunch of makeup conferences because the world demands gaming news,
Mm-hmm.
even if E3, the official organization, says nah, we're not going to put it on. Coming back next year in person apparently, but
Yeah, and it's
this
like
year canceled like last minute. It feels like.
yeah, I don't think we need one really. It's like all of these companies realize that they can do the same thing that E3 does, but on their own time and probably better. So it's like,
Yeah, for cheaper
yeah,
instead of renting a booth through E3 and having your own time slot.
yeah.
Where like obviously Sony and Microsoft get top billing rights
Mm-hmm.
because they're the big console makers, and then Nintendo if they want to do their own thing, and then everyone else kind of gets kind of shoved off to the side. Except now the game companies own so many of these studios. They used to put on these conferences by themselves that they're just going to make like a much longer conference. It feels like probably
Yeah.
where like Microsoft and Bethesda did theirs jointly this year anyway. But I mean, if they did a full E3 press conference where they include all the third party stuff too, then it would probably be like just a 3 to 4 hour press conference where it's a bunch of Bethesda stuff just sprinkled in with all the other Microsoft stuff. And then, 2 years from now, everything Activision, you know?
Yeah.
So you're going to have tons of announcements from one press conference. Sony's doing the same thing. And then we're gonna get to like Final Fantasy and stuff, but and I think I've read this rumor like one time, but I really hope it's true that Sony's just gonna buy Square Enix. Like
That
Square
would
Enix
be
was trimming the
yeah.
fat. They sold all these other like Western studios. They're like, Sony, buy us. Final Fantasy can become Sony exclusive once more. Go for it.
That would be amazing. I love Sony. I love Square Enix. I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Um, do you want to start
Let
with
me
the
see.
big titty? Because if we do big titty, then we're doing Final Fantasy first.
Yeah, we can do that.
All
We can
right.
start with the big titties because then we'll get the two smaller shows out of the way.
Yeah. So my big titty, 100%. Everything that entire, I think, just the Final Fantasy VII press conference or whatever it was. It was yesterday when we were recording this. It was 10 minutes, so concise. Everything that was announced was pretty much amazing. So that's my big titty.
Basically, just the trailers, just back to back, like
Yeah.
back to back to back trailers.
Like, so, well, we'll get this shitty news out of the way first. Season 3 is coming to the Battle Royale mobile game. No one cares about that.
Yeah, I didn't even really read that information.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't see it because I was out in the city yesterday. But I did the top 3, which are the 3 that I care about, and then the last one's the mobile announcements. And I was like, I just scrolled to the bottom and closed that tab.
One of the mobile announcements is honestly kind of cool. So the 3 big, or do you want me to continue, or you want to do your big?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead. Yeah.
So the big 3 announcements was Crisis Core getting a remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, which is titled Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. And Ever Crisis is basically a remake of 5 games, like in like this chibi style gameplay for mobile. So like it's gonna be Before Crisis, which is its first time ever coming English. Before it was like some just Japanese exclusive like flip phone game or something. So I don't even know the story to it. There's Before Crisis, Crisis Core, 7, Dirge of Cerberus, and Advent Children are all coming to this one Ever Crisis like chibi type of game on the phone. I think that could be cool because it's like original timeline. You can still experience the OG timeline. So I might get that like for the iPad or something just to play every once in a while because the gameplay actually looks kind of cool. It's like you're a chibi in the cutscenes, and then for battle, it's like I don't even know. It looks like freaking Final Fantasy VII Remake with the animations.
Mm.
But I'm sure you're just like tapping shit to do your attacks. But then Crisis Core Remake. So we're gonna get into a little spoiler territory for Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I know he hasn't played, and if you're watching, maybe you haven't played. It's
Currently
like,
playing, but yeah, I haven't beaten it. Yeah.
It's like 2 years old. So at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, the biggest reveal is that Zack in this new timeline is still alive, and they were hinting at like things changing every once in a while, like when the sector thing, the plate falls. I think one of the people, like Jesse Biggs or Wedge, who died in the original, lived in this one. So like hinting that things are changing. At the end, they show the ending of Crisis Core, but instead of Zack dying, he lives. So I'm thinking for the Crisis Core remake, either this is gonna be just a straight remake of the original, and it's gonna be just the old timeline, or we're gonna see what happened in the new timeline to make him live in the new one. And I think that makes sense because like it's reunion, remake, rebirth. But at the same time, I feel like if it was part of the new timeline, they showed like a list of the new trilogy, and it was like remake, rebirth, and then untitled third game, and I feel like it would have been in that listing.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows how they're structuring it?
They could do that on purpose. I could
see it going either way.
Yeah, they could do it on purpose. Yeah. Like, hey, we want you to think this is like that's just what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake. No one knew that they were going to change shit when the game was coming out. We all thought it was just going to be a strict adaptation of the original story. So
yeah, and then they told people they were going to change stuff, and then people were like, "Well, is Cloud still going to get an address?"
And he did.
And they were like, "Yes, yes." The most important aspect of the entire game will remain there.
And then yeah, so I think like honestly, Crisis Core, great game. Like I love that game. It's probably like my number 2 Final Fantasy out of the ones I've played so far. It's one of the only like 2 games to make me fucking cry on stream, and I don't show emotions often, so that's big for me. I think if any game makes me feel something, like I respect it more.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then for Rebirth, I think it's really cool because in the trailer we hear Aerith talking, and she's like, "Why are you saying I'm dead? Like I don't understand what's going on." So they might even change that in the new timeline, especially because the first game adapted like the first 8 hours of the original. So who knows how much the second game's going to adapt really. And if we're ending on a third game, which we're not even through disc 1 in the first game, I think like there's going to be some big timeline changes coming for it to conclude in 3 games. Or one of the games is going to be long as shit. But that'd be super long for a game.
I feel like the last one might be long as shit.
Yeah.
Like the end one, yeah. They could do that way. I kind of feel like they're going to do the Crisis Core remake with the new timeline, just because now you have voice actors in these games, right? So like you have all the same voice actors across both series now. So you have the Aerith voice actress like talking to Zack, like in that trailer I saw.
Yeah, it was in the original too, voice acted. I think this is
Yeah,
gonna
well,
be
whatever.
every
But the
single voice
original
acted.
OG 7
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
voice acted, which
yeah.
you know. So now you have like the same actors across both series and stuff like that. It's almost like like a mashup like series that you would have like old school like Disney, where like Hercules would
Mhm.
show up in Aladdin's timeline and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they're going through the trouble of redoing the entire story of Seven and they're gonna redo this remake, which is in Seven's universe, why would they not
Yeah.
make it fit
That
in with the rest of the new games they're making?
that and I feel like the reason that they're doing this chibi one is because you're gonna have like all of the new stuff is gonna be its own timeline, and then if you want to play the original timeline, that's like this chibi game. Because the original Crisis Core, I believe, is still being adapted on that one. So
Hmm.
you're still gonna have all the same shit going on there. So
Yeah.
that's my guess that this is gonna be new. It's what I would prefer, I think. But then again, it's like maybe I'm just saying that because I don't want to see Zach die again. But I don't know.
I think it'd be cool to see the events that led up to like how it's playing out
Well,
in
yeah,
Seven
no, I
remake.
think if this is a for sure remake of the original, we have to see what made it change in like Rebirth or in the third
When
game.
is
There's
that
got
one coming out? When is
so
Reunion coming out? Did
Reunion's
they
coming out
announce
this
that?
winter, which is crazy, like 6 months,
Okay.
and then Rebirth is
They have
coming
like
out
a
next
six.
winter.
They're doing like a six
Yeah,
month, 6 month, 6 month thing. Because like, so the bad news of the conference for most people was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is next winter. So
yeah.
like literally like 18 months away
But here's the
from
thing,
where we are
yeah,
right
like you're
now.
saying, we have literally this winter Reunion. We have 16 next summer, so another
Next
6 months,
summer.
and then Rebirth. So people are fine. We're getting
Yeah,
games
and it
on
sounds like they're
games.
just taking the time to make sure the games are polished
Yeah,
and don't need big patches. They don't have major bugs, which would totally take people out of like this experience
yeah.
because they want people to play the games when they first come out and make all their money. So I like that they're taking the time to do all this like polishing and everything, all the stuff that you used to have to do as a game studio before the mate, like always being online, always being able to patch your games and
Mm-hmm.
shit was a thing. Installing stuff on consoles that didn't exist in N64. Nah, if
Yep.
that cartridge had a bug, every single one of the cartridges they shipped out had that bug forever.
Yep.
There was no fixing that. So now you have like now I feel like a lot of studios the timelines are tight. It's not necessarily the dev's fault and stuff, but they're under the gun to just release the game on time, not delay shit. And whatever state the game is in, so be it. You know, they print all those discs, they do the release or whatever, and then yeah, they'll have a day zero, day one update. But I mean, they'll be updating. I mean, look, it's like Cyberpunk,
Yeah. Still
updating
being
that game for
updated.
like 2 years to make it like playable, as
Mm-hmm.
far as like some people are concerned. You know, like critical failure bugs where you can lose all your progress. That should never be in a game,
Yeah.
and especially games that are like JRPGs, really long, like super involved and stuff. Like you wouldn't want to go back and lose like 30 hours of progress and replay the whole story, at least
Yeah.
on your first playthrough. So yeah, I like that they're taking the time. It's just that I think a lot of people would have expected like when the announcement came, the game was coming soon when they saw it
But at
because
the
it's
same
been a
time, like
while.
it's been a while, but like think of like God of War. Like I feel like next winter's like fine. Maybe that's just me
Yeah, no,
being
God of
like,
War took even longer.
yeah,
God of War is taking even longer, and they knew they were making a sequel. They basically foreshadowed it at the end of God
yeah,
of War. So like we knew they were making another game. I don't know why it's been taking like 6 or 7 years or whatever, but
yeah. I feel like my stance on a lot of things is like, I don't care. But even in this situation, I feel like it's just like it's not just me. It's like who really cares? Like we got an announcement and we already have a date. Usually like Kingdom Hearts, think of Kingdom Hearts 4 even. Yeah, cool, we got an announcement about it, but we don't know when. It could be coming in 2028 for all we know.
yeah, yeah. Just showing the little teaser that means nothing,
Yeah.
really. Yeah, no, I got you. But yeah, no, I'm excited for everything Final Fantasy. I
I'm a little
I'm looking for.
scared.
I mean, I'm loving Final Fantasy 7 remake, so I'm
Yeah.
in. I'm hooked. As soon as Rebirth comes out, I'm buying it, playing it like
Yeah.
the day it
You
comes
waited a
out.
long time for a remake and I told you it was good. But
A
yeah,
lot of people told
Rebirth.
me it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am scared because I
Um.
am currently. We mentioned this in like the first episode, but I'm playing through all of them, and I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my darndest to get through them,
I
but
mean, they did you a
it's tight.
solid. They gave you a ton of time. Well, not till 16. It's a little
Yeah,
bit less time, but they did you a solid. They gave you a ton of time. Like it taking a year of polish. They could have released that shit this year. That
yeah,
means so it means that you could have been totally out of luck when it comes to 16.
yeah.
But yeah. Um. So I'll do my big titty of this week. Um, it's tough to pick because there's so much gaming news, and I like a lot of the stuff that's coming out. A lot of it's just trailers. So I'm with more general. I just like all of the. Netflix also had their Geeked Week this week,
Mm.
which isn't all about gaming. It's about all of Netflix stuff. But one of the days is dedicated to gaming stuff. So the gaming series that they're making, and I didn't know this, but there are games on Netflix you can
Yeah,
play
I
in
don't
their
get
app.
it.
You just search their
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. I was on Netflix the other day, like on my TV, and it's like, do I play with my remote control for my TV? Can I put a Bluetooth like PS5 controller on my TV?
They probably make you download the like you either have to do it on your phone, probably like in the phone app,
Mm-hmm.
or they make you download like some companion app or something like maybe like so I have like Fire TV, like Fire Stick. There's Fire TV app on
Mm-hmm.
my phone, and that just spoofs the controller. But I mean, I imagine if I opened up Netflix, maybe they could work with Amazon to
Yeah.
develop like when you open up the game, there's a whole new interface and stuff.
I
I
also
mean, you can literally like hit a keyboard and then type with your Google keyboard, like swipe.
yeah.
That's how I enter all passwords now because it's fucking insane to enter them one letter at a time on a
Mm-hmm.
fucking Fire Stick remote.
But is there
So,
like
but my
in-depth games with that? Because like I was looking at it and they had like Trivia Crack on my TV.
Trivia Crack is like the first one, but yeah, the games that are coming out based on the announcement, I think are like there's some like actual like probably smaller ish like RPGs. I think
Mm-hmm.
I gotta like relook at this list, but and it's hard to tell from this list of the recap I'm looking at what's a game that's getting turned into a series and what's a series getting turned into a game for the trailers and stuff. But the games are a little bit more simple, but I think like at least one of them is a bit more like involved and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't remember which one it was. I think it was like maybe I'm thinking like Spirit Fair coming to mobile for the first time. Yeah, like Spirit Fair is like another game that is now coming to mobile like through Netflix. So it's a real game that existed in another forum, and
Okay.
Netflix is adapting it into a mobile game, like so you can play it on your phone basically.
Gotcha.
So they're doing that now. So I think that they'll probably start doing that with bigger games. Like they could probably put any game they want on there. It's just they have to get the devs to port everything over.
Yeah.
But my big titty is just basically all of the stuff that's going on gaming and like other medium related because I think one it just expands the user base of people that will be into these universes. It gives more credibility to all this licensed stuff that used to just be considered total garbage right away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and right now, gaming is going through almost like a renaissance where all these gaming series are coming out. They're doing them really well. They're doing them unique and cool. And now we have like all these live action anime adaptations that are total shit.
Yeah.
So like 10 years from now, we'll go through a renaissance where like finally they do cool live action anime series or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe the start of it will be One Piece.
I
Whatever.
I don't want to
But
have hope, but I have a little bit of hope for that series. I think like the
yeah,
castings I think are great. I watched one
yeah.
clip of this dude who was Luffy and like he had that like Luffy energy that you expect from him.
Yeah, and just
And
looking at the picture of Mihawk, it's like
that
he's
guy
fucking Mihawk.
I think
He's Dracula Mihawk.
the one thing I think is so bad, which isn't even that big of a deal, is I think the Going Merry, whatever the fuck that thing is called, that sits. I don't forget.
The head mask,
It's
the
so
masthead
yeah,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
so bad. That doesn't resemble Mary at all.
Yeah, they probably didn't want to go as cartoonish
You don't
with the
want to go
look of the
cartoonish, but
goat.
like imagine the end of Water 7 with that thing staring at you. I'd be glad to see it burn.
Yeah, right. And then the guy that plays Luffy's gonna have to really dig deep
Yeah.
to cry. Just channel all of the he's gonna go into Avatar state. It's like previous actor state. Every actor that was amazing that's
Mhm.
passed on from our life, he's gonna channel them so that he can cry.
I think
Um,
also like so if his stretching is weird, like CGI, I think that could ruin the show potentially.
yeah,
There's a
I'm
lot
worried
of
about
things
the
that
him
could go
stretching
wrong.
Buggy's like little like piecemeal stuff, but they've done that in other series before where they've
Yeah.
done like things that come alive. But he like floats in the air.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder. You have to like cut up his body and show
Mhm.
his legs on the bottom and like his feet over off somewhere else. He's throwing a fist out,
Mhm.
like all of a sudden his punch comes out or whatever. So there's it. I mean, again, I'm also not hopeful for it. I'm just gonna take it as it is and take it as it comes. But at like at least One Piece is a series where like if they do it right, they know that they have years of
Yeah.
content. That series is so long and so big and so beloved. it's the first one they're adapting live action where like they could literally have this series going on for the next 30 years or so. They could just be a moneymaker for them.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're giving it
I
the
will
love it
say
needs.
though, I do think Netflix cancels things like all the time. Like it's concerning how much they cancel things in my opinion. Like I don't know any show off the top of my head, but I know that there have been shows that are like beloved by people and like they just get canceled on a whim, like season 2. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, and we know, like, let's say One Piece is great. People are gonna hate on it because it's One Piece. So we're going into the show that already could have, and one, it's an anime adaptation, and two, it's One Piece. And I don't know. I think like it's already gonna have bad preconceived notions for some people, and they like even if people do love it, I feel like Netflix is one to cancel a lot of shit.
Yeah. I mean, but again, they've done that with series where it's like either they made it themselves or like there's not really a ton of source material to adapt. So if it's not if they don't think like they can keep it going for a long time, like One Piece, they like you must know, even if you're like a head honcho at Netflix who's never been into gaming or nerd culture at all, you have to know. You have to like look up. You just type One Piece into a Google search, and you can see like, all right, going on for 1,000 and like 1,100 manga issues so far.
Mm-hmm.
It's at 1,032 episodes. Like this is like the viewer count. It's the number one selling manga series in Japan's history or whatever. You know what? I don't know if it really is. I know it was like dethroned in like a certain like weekly period by
Yeah.
Demon Slayer at one point and stuff. But One Piece has been the top selling Shonen Jump manga for years. So it's you have an audience. Like there's so many people. Like they should know that they should give it some love and like they should give it a chance because they've given shows as many times as they've canceled shows that have been like liked by people. They've given extra seasons to shows that people thought were total shit,
Yeah.
and they either turn them around or they eventually cancel them. Like if
But
everything eventually ends,
yeah,
but
the other thing though is I feel like when anything gets adapted, whether like the exception being most anime to manga or manga to anime, it's like these writers are dumb. Give me what the dude originally wrote. I don't
yeah,
need your creative liberties of them doing other shit. This person dying so super early on. Like imagine if they change like if they get as far as Marineford and like they change what happens to Ace or something. Like I feel like that's something
yeah.
that is something dumb that they would change like that, and that's the main thing that scares me about like any adaptation is how well it's
Because
adapted.
it's an adaptation, it's not a true one to
Yeah.
one recreation translation. Yeah, yeah, no, I think you see that a ton with like book series that get adapted, especially if they're longer series. You can
Mm-hmm.
tell that the writers read the first book and not the whole series.
Yeah.
And they make decisions that literally break the canon for
Mm-hmm.
future things that are major milestones in the series.
Yep.
And obviously, the fans have an outcry, and then the writers like, "Oh shit, we had no idea this happened."
Like
Like,
even
yeah, because
before
you didn't
Game of
read
Thrones
book
was
two.
bad, right? Even before Game of Thrones was bad, they did wasn't it something with like Rob dying and his mom like she came back as something else, like she wasn't dead there.
In the
Yeah.
books, no, in the books she eventually comes back, but in the series she never does, and she seems like in the books like she's actually going to be an important player
Yeah.
as like her resurrected self,
Also,
Lady Stoneheart.
yeah, they also small news that's not really that important, but apparently it's getting a sequel show with Jon Snow coming back as the main character. Which could
Oh,
be
I didn't know
cool.
about that. I didn't hear about
Yeah, it
that.
was announced like today or yesterday.
Yeah, I know. My Game of Thrones,
I'm just so
I
disappointed.
hated the last two seasons. So I mean, I have like no expectations for House of Dragon,
Yeah.
which is the one coming out like this year. But it's a book that's Fire and Blood, which is like 200 years before Game of Thrones starts. So it's not when Aegon the Conqueror is conquering shit, but it's when like his descendants, his like first or second generation descendants are ruling over the Seven Kingdoms and all
Yeah.
the shit that's going on with them. And even in the book series or even in the TV show, there were a ton of like references to certain people there. Like one guy drank the dragon fire thing, the Greek fire
Mm-hmm.
version in that world, and died obviously because he thought it would turn him into a dragon. So there's crazy people in that. So it should be cool, but I'm not a huge fan of like the way that Matt Smith looks to
Yeah.
get like and stuff. But anyway, let me finish out my big titty of the week. So just to sum up some of the announcements, like I'm excited for Dragon Age's Absolution. I don't really know the series well, but I've based on what I've heard from the universe from like some of my friends that have played it, it's really cool and it's a game series that I've been interested in and I want to play at some point. Um, there's the Castlevania, a new Castlevania that they announced,
Oh,
which is from the descendant of Simon. I forget the guy's name. It'll be somewhere on this list when I go down. But I really like the Castlevania series that Netflix already did. It has a
mhm,
weird animation style, but after the first few episodes, it grows on you,
yeah.
and it's really cool. Like Trevor Belmont, um, oh my god, and his love interest, the mage, the female like wanderer mage, they're really cool.
Are the wait? So are the both of those announcements? Castlevania is a show, right? And then is Dragon Age also a show?
These, yeah, Dragon Age is a show.
Oh,
It's an
okay.
animated show coming in December. Um, Tekken
Hmm.
is an animated show. I don't know when that one's coming, but I know that the creator of Tekken, like the head game dev, is involved in the series.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that it'll be good. It'll at least make sense. I mean, Tekken, is there even a story to Tekken? It's a fighting game.
There
You're
is,
gonna
and
make
it's
a story.
confusing. Yeah.
Yeah, so this maybe will clear stuff up, or maybe if this guy really is just gonna keep to the games, it'll be confusing as fuck. This one I can see getting canceled, to be
You know
honest.
how in like Smash you do like the arcade mode and it's like this person has their own ending and then it's like one cutscene and then it's like this person it's one cutscene. In like the early Tekkens, there's like all these characters that have their own endings. One of them is canon out of each game. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
One? Well, then those are the ones they'll focus on, I
Yeah.
guess. Um, so yeah, so that one I'm not super excited about, but I like that it's happening
Hmm.
because there are other games out there that are like either fighting games or like fighting s games, beat 'em ups. I would love to see adaptations. Like a beat 'em up adaptation, if it was true to the game, would be like hordes of people just coming at you and you just like backhanding them away left and right. So clearly, you would need to change the story for that. So
Hmm.
if you can adapt a fighting game, you can adapt basically any game to include to be a good story game. I mean, look at how many times they fucked up Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Like, there's Cuphead, which one by itself is animated in like a TV show style as a game,
Hmm.
so it lends itself well. I know the original one is already out. I haven't watched it yet because I haven't played the game,
Me neither.
but I know that they're doing like it's like new episodes are coming and there's like a new season coming. It looked funny from the preview. I've watched the preview on Netflix and it looks funny,
Hmm.
but
Is it like
I've
adult
never
humor
played
or
the
like
game,
kid
so
humor?
I think it's a mix
Oh,
of both because it's like a really hard game. It was not meant for kids.
yeah.
It's like it's more geared toward an adult audience or like a teenager plus audience
Hmm.
as a game. I think the show is basically the same,
Gotcha.
where they're not cursing left and right and they're not showing like cup titties, but like they're still doing crude humor
Yeah.
basically. It seems like crude humor. It seems like the enemies are like big versions of like flowers and other like I don't know, shit you have around your house,
Hmm.
and they're usually like evil looking, and I think that it's more crude-ish humor. Um, I was disappointed they didn't have a Witcher announcement. I'll admit.
Yeah. Didn't we have? Well,
Uh,
oh, you mean season 3, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
season 3. I mean, I think they just started filming it, so how much could they possibly really have to announce
Hmm.
other than it exists? Um, but one of the ones that already came out that was well received was Arcane, the
Hmm.
League of Legends one. I haven't watched that yet, but everyone I've talked to says it's really good.
Yeah.
And whether or not you like League of Legends, it's worth watching. And I know that they're doing like an MMO is going to come out and stuff. So expanding the universe into Netflix and stuff makes a lot of sense. They're doing the same thing with like Dota,
Hmm.
which I think Dota, the show already exists also. And they announced a new season. Yeah, season 3. So like Dota's like kind of the same. Like
Hmm.
it's the same type of game. So the fact that these shows have and these aren't canceled. Season 3,
Yep.
Arcane is definitely gonna get season 2 because I can't imagine. I haven't heard someone say a bad thing about Arcane.
Yeah.
So you have all these game series that are animated that are doing really well. So it's like the live action one where it's like hit or miss. And then at the end of one of the other conferences was they showed a still of Last of Us, and they said it was like the Naughty Dog head devs are like on set giving them like feedback. So you have a good chance that the characters will stay true to like their characters.
Yeah.
How much the storyline changes, I'm sure there's some creative license where there's a limit where Naughty Dog can say, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So we'll see if the storyline changes all that much. But from the still, you did get a sense of like terror, like horror,
Hmm.
which I know the game goes for.
Yeah.
You can see it's basically the two main characters just hiding and like looking out for like zombies and stuff.
Hmm.
Like that's the still that you got. So I
And
have high
Pedro
hopes for that
Pascal,
one.
he's great. So
And yeah, he makes everything amazing.
yeah.
He's like the guy from Moon Knight,
Yeah.
Oscar
Isaac.
Isaac. Like anything that he's in. And then I think the last one that I really liked that I saw was the Sonic Prime. because I've always been a sucker for Sonic, like the TV shows. When I was a kid, I would watch them.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought they were cool and funny.
But then you hate the games,
So
right?
seeing this one, I don't hate the games.
Oh,
No, I don't like a lot of the games where there's free roam because
Gotcha.
they're not adapted well to his speed. But the
Mhm.
originals on Sega Genesis I liked. I was just
Gotcha.
bad at them.
No.
I was just bad at them. I can never do the underwater levels. Like he exhales the bubble and you got to go re-swallow it. I would swim near it and it would never re-swallow. It would like pop into smaller bubbles and I would just fucked. I died. I drowned.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just, I had a hard wall of the water levels. So I was like, yeah, fuck this game. Oh yeah, and then the Castlevania one I think was one that they ended on as it comes to TV shows, and it's Richter Belmont during the French Revolution, so way in the future compared to Trevor Belmont. I think this guy's like, I want to say thousands,
Really?
like or 1,000 years in the future or something.
I watched the first.
It might
season.
be a couple hundred.
I want to say the first season was like 4 episodes or something. I think I watched those.
Yeah.
But I don't remember
those
anything.
4.
It was like
Yeah.
maybe even pre-college or like a summer vacation back from college. It's been so long. I'd probably have to rewatch those.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's 4 episodes. It's not hard to rewatch.
Yeah.
But I like to do. I haven't seen season 4 yet, which is the last season.
Mm-hmm.
But seasons 1, 2, and 3 were top.
So is this season 5 or is this like Castlevania colon? Okay. Yeah.
Castlevania : Nocturne.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this guy. I mean, this guy's a descendant of. I don't think her name is Tifa, but it's something like weird like that. It's short like that. The mage that's with him that he saves in season 1. Alucard will probably be in it since he's immortal. I don't know if he dies in season 4 or whatever.
Yeah. Wait, so is season 4 like so is 1 through 4 a concise story, like a start and end, or like is there potentially because like if there's a time skip, you can obviously still like adapt to season 5 if you wanted to. I just don't know if like that's possible.
I think it's the end. I think it's a concise story.
Gotcha. I'll check it out.
Because I mean, this guy is a descendant of those two, of Trevor and then his. And I don't know why I'm spacing on the name, but but yeah, I was excited about that one. So so that was like the Geeked Week announcement. There's other stuff, like the games that are coming and stuff, but those are the ones that got me excited.
Yeah.
So I guess we can move on. Let's move on to. We were gonna do this in order that they basically aired them, right? So it was Summer Games Fest.
I think the first day wasn't it like the one we're not gonna talk about really is Final Fantasy 16 because that was like 2 weeks ago, I think, before Summer Game Fest. Right?
Yeah, I mean that one we can just basically say like I'm excited about it. It looks really cool. The trailer looks really cool.
I think bringing back the summons is cool because I feel like I don't know, they were in 15, but it's like, I think like fighting with them is gonna be cool. It almost reminds me of like Summoner in 14 because like it feels like you're like using them for your attacks. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I think it's gonna be awesome.
Summons are such a key part of the lore too. It's weird that they would not either include or like it would make them weird.
Yeah, like I know you fight Titan in 15. I don't remember ever using him, but maybe you get him as a summon later. I know for sure you fight him though.
Yeah, it seems like they tried to change combat and then it didn't really lend itself well to summons.
Yeah. I love the combat.
Like. And then they kind of
if it wasn't a Final Fantasy game, like I think the combat's awesome. But
yeah, they probably figured it out for 7 remake because you have to include the summons, so they had to figure out a way to make them work.
You don't have summons yet in 7 remake?
I have 4 of them.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, no, they made them work. Like you're not directly controlling them all the time. You can choose to control them, but they're still AI control, and they'll do attacks, like specific attacks on the enemy. But you can give them a specific command, and then after their time runs out, they'll do their Omega attack. And if you manage to stagger an enemy when they do that, like fucking death damage, Yeah. So I'm excited that those are going to come back. I feel like they'll probably just keep the style fairly similar to that.
Yeah.
When it was turn-based, it was easy. Now that's not turn-based. It's all like kind of real-time action stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that summons are harder, but it's basically like, you just give me an AI companion and like let me control him some. Maybe even let me switch into him and control him directly.
That'd be cool.
And let the AI control my main body. I wouldn't mind that. Sorry, my voice is getting worse and worse as we go on. Let's see. So then after that one, now we have Summer Games Fest, which is the kind of the whole thing. But the first day was like just generic like announcements, and then that was one that ended with like it kind of had like some Sony stuff, but it had more multi-platform announcements. So they started with like Street Fighter 6, showing some stuff for that. It looks cool. I'm not a fighting game guy, but the art style does look cool. I'm sure that I would enjoy playing it casually and getting my ass kicked by the computer and by friends. They did an Aliens game. The Alien looked pretty cool. Like the graphics are top notch, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Aliens as a series, gaming wise, has been really like great or total garbage.
Yeah, I think people
So
liked
there's no in between.
Isolation. I never played
Yeah,
it.
Isolation was the good one, but like the two before that were so shitty that people were like, "This is unplayable." Like riddled with bugs,
Mm-hmm.
and also when they fixed them, like even when they fixed it, the AI was like you'd stand in front of an AI guy, and like he turns around and starts marching on his path backward. Like you're literally standing from. You could probably slap him in the face once, and they would still not know that you're there. So they have issues like that. Um, they announced Modern Warfare 2 remake with some campaign footage, and I gotta tell you, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was the peak of Call of
Oh
Duty
yeah.
for me. This game, I think this game is like $70 or something. They could sell this game for $300, and I think that they would get a ton of people to buy it.
Yeah.
If you played Modern Warfare 2 when it first came out, this was the reason why Call of Duty became so big. Call of Duty 4 got you was a taste.
Mm-hmm.
That was the taste. That was like, all right, Call of Duty's pretty cool. Now that it's gone to consoles and not just on PC, it's pretty cool. Modern Warfare 2 was like, holy shit. That's how a lot of YouTube people became really famous, was Modern Warfare 2. It's how the whole series became really awesome. And it's when Activision really fucked over the Infinity Ward devs and made them switch and form their own studio Respawn. So it's milestones, baby. That's 3 of them right there. That's why we have Jedi Fallen Order and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Respawn did that. So, and they wanted to do other stuff, whatever. I don't know. You don't need to go into it. But Modern Warfare 2 was the game. I never got Call of Duty 4 remake, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get Modern Warfare 2 remake.
I think, yeah, if people get
The
it, I'm gonna
campaign
get
stuff
it.
looked amazing. It looked really dynamic. They even said, like, they showed the boat level and they're like, we have dynamic water physics. So every time you play that level, it might be different because the boat will rock different ways. So you might have an enemy fall out of cover and you might have stuff fall off. You might have a barrel fall down and roll. You can shoot and make it explode. So that's really cool. They're like bringing total like next gen physics and stuff to it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a new game that I thought was super interesting looking. Was Witchfire. It's like Red Dead meets like high fantasy, like Dark Souls kind of stuff. It looked like more horror-ish element, but you were like casting spells and then using a shotgun. It was super cool. There's actually another game that's like it, but in third person instead of first person. This one was first person. But I think out of all the new games that are announced on this day, that was the one that had me the most interested, was Witchfire.
Gotcha.
It's hard to explain, like just in like vocally, like
Yeah, I
basically
should
like
have
you need to
watched
look at
those.
these trailers.
I haven't watched anything, just so people know.
But Witchfire is one that I think you should watch.
Right.
We can talk about how excited we are. We should just basically put a pin in it, and when we get more news about it, maybe bring it back up.
There you go.
They announced some. I saw Troy Baker get on the stage. He's a great voice actor. He's Winston, I think, in Overwatch, and I think that he was in Last of Us 2. But they're doing some sci-fi thing.
Is that on one of your
with
lists?
them?
Overwatch 2?
Overwatch 2, yeah, that was on that was in the Xbox. No, that was that the Xbox? Yeah, that was the Xbox Bethesda one. That's when they showed more stuff.
Gotcha.
So we'll get to that one later. American Arcadia is actually a multiple list. That one looks kind of cool. Have you ever seen The Truman Show?
No, but I know the concept.
Okay, so this is The Truman Show, but a whole town, and people are killed off if they're not popular.
That's
so
funny.
like if there's a character, so it's not just about Truman. The whole town doesn't know. None of them are actors.
Are you some dude in the town, or are you like some?
Yeah, you're some dude, and I think he starts to figure out. You play as two characters. You play as a dude in the game, and then that's a side-scrolling 2.5D, like puzzle solving thing, I think. And then you play almost a Portal style first person, where you're like hacking into cameras and you're more behind the scenes.
That's cool.
So you're someone who knows the show is a show, and it's totally different graphics and stuff. So based on that trailer, it looked really cool. It's an interesting concept. I mean, just based on the trailer, it's hard to tell. Will I really like enjoy it, or like would it be something that I'd be interested in? Marvel Midnight Suns.
That's like, I mean, it's XCOM, right?
Yeah.
I've never played XCOM, but I know people who like it, and I like Marvel, so maybe I'd give it a chance.
Yeah, I think you would, just because it's Marvel.
Yeah.
XCOM is cool. It's like tactics. It's like a tactics game.
Wait,
it's like Fire Emblem.
I feel like this would be right up your alley.
Yeah, I've played some tactics games, but not many. It's just like I don't know. It based on the from the show, the announcements were just basically like that there's other characters in
Yeah,
it.
like I think they
So
announced
we didn't see a ton
Spider-Man.
of stuff. It was a cinematic trailer. It
Oh,
wasn't
gotcha.
gameplay. So it was just best game ever coming out. Goat Simulator 3, obviously.
They skipped 2.
They skipped 2. Yeah, I don't. And then really, so then the last I think 2 from this list. No, there's like 4 else from this list that I want to go over. So TMNT Shredder's Revenge. I'm getting that game. It came
Never
out today.
played it.
It came out today. Of course you didn't play
Wait,
it.
no, wait, isn't I thought that was a remake of one of like the
No,
old,
it's not really a remake. It's a new game, but it's in the style of the games that came out
like
on
Streets
Super
of
Nintendo
Rage, right?
and the arcade games. Yeah. So it's similar, but it's different. I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha.
You have different powers, different abilities and stuff. I saw Carnage playing it. He got the press release copy because he actually does streaming professionally and lives an awesome life. So I saw him playing it. He was terrible at the game. Carnage, when you listen to this podcast, because I know you are.
Oh yeah.
You sucked at that game, my friend. It was horrible. But you were getting through it eventually. But it looked really cool. That is a game I'm definitely gonna play, and I'm gonna stream it. And I think it's co-op, so we should both get that one.
Oh hell yeah.
TMNT Mutant Ninja Turtles was one of my favorite cartoons as a kid.
See, I think I missed the train
I
on
love that
one.
series. Yeah, well, it was slightly before your
Yeah.
time, and then they brought it back with those live action ones from
And I
Michael
never watched
Bay,
them.
which
Wasn't
which
what's
were
his face Green Arrow from the CW in them or something? Stephen Amell.
I don't know.
I think he was.
I don't know. I'd have to see a picture. But I love TMNT, so that was like my sleeper hit of that show. Was I cannot wait for this game, and I couldn't believe it was coming out this week. So I have to get that game. I'll wait to play it because I would want to play it with like friends more than single player. But it looks like an old arcade game. Like if you went to a roller rink as a kid with like a school trip, there was like the Simpsons game, there was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, there was like one other game. They were all like the 4-player. You get 4 players at once, like until you run out of 3 lives per quarter or whatever. It's in that style. It's really cool. And this one's up to 6 players because you can play as the 4 turtles, and then you can play as Shredder. No, not Shredder. Master Splinter, and then I think the hockey dude, the guy that's the love interest for the reporter, April Adams or whatever. I didn't care about any of the characters besides the turtles, so I don't know their names. Then there's Warhammer, which looked really cool. I know Warhammer's this huge involved series, and it's like Henry Cavill's favorite thing in the world. I know he's involved in this game somehow. I'm pretty sure. I remember him like announcing it. I think he's like the main voice actor or something.
Warhammer the one where you're like those blue dudes, or is Warhammer the one that's like Warhammer 40,000 or whatever that game's called?
Warhammer 40K.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. What's
it's
that
40,000. Yeah, it's like it started tabletop. It's almost D&D style, but it's more tabletop, like very intricate gaming. And now it's it has expanded universe. Like there's a ton of books about them. You can get your own mini figurines and paint them.
Oh, I was
there
thinking
have
of
been
Warframe.
other games.
That's the one.
Yeah, you're thinking of Warframe. Yeah, which they had an announcement for Warframe, but I don't care about Warframe, so I skipped it.
Yeah.
But this one is more. I think the game started as RTS games, so like StarCraft kind of games. But this one's first person. It looks fantastic. It looks amazing. I don't know anything about the lore. I think this is the first Warhammer 40K game I'll play though. It just looks really, really interesting. That's another trailer I think you should watch. It was on the longer side too. They had a lot of stuff in it. There was like a Saints Row announcement, which I know Saints Row is a funny series. It's like a humorous GTA, which GTA is already funny.
Yeah.
You get to craft your own boss. And then the last one, I think this is more for you though. Gotham Knights.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
Nightwing in that.
I don't know how I feel about that game. Like, it's probably gonna be cool. I just think there's 2 games coming out. There's the Suicide Squad, Kill the Batman or whatever, Kill the Justice League, whatever it's called, and then there's Gotham Knights. And apparently, the Suicide Squad one is in this Arkham verse, that Arkham Asylum through Night, and then Gotham Knights isn't. It's like, why? It's made by the people who made the Arkham games. And Arkham
Maybe
Knight,
they wanted to include people they killed or something in there.
No, but Arkham
lore.
Knight like literally ends, well, one of the endings, and then like they hint maybe he's not or whatever. But Batman like dies at the end of that game, so it's like this is the perfect like he's literally not in the game. How is this not in the universe?
Maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll say, actually, just kidding, it is.
I really hope they do. If they do, I'm all in. If they don't, like I'm like 70% in.
But maybe they're just going to go on like a killing spree and kill all these characters, and they want to keep using them in that universe. Or like maybe they want to use characters that they consider dead in that universe. I don't know.
Yeah. But
But yeah, so
it's
those.
cool. I streamed all of them. I think it's an awesome series and awesome gameplay, so I'll probably get it.
Yeah, and then they announced it's not on this list, but I know they announced the very end was Last of Us 2, like or Last of
Last of
Us
Us 1,
remake.
or it's called like Last of Us Part 1 because it's like Last of Us Part 2. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not even that old of a game. I don't know why they have this,
Here's
and it was literally leaked the
yeah.
same day the conference happened. They were like, "Oh, we were so happy. We were like, we avoided the leak," and then of course it happened. And they mentioned it like 3 times on stage. They're like, "Yeah, the leak happened." Most people just ignore it. They
Yeah.
just pretend it didn't happen. These guys were like, "Yeah, the leak happened. Yeah, everyone saw this already. Yeah, the leak exists." It's like, all right, yeah, we got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
mean, I
guys
think
fucked up.
it's cool and it's dumb. Like I think it's cool because like they want you to be able to experience 1 in the engine of 2, and I heard the engine of 2 is great, but like it's dumb cuz yeah, it's like it'd be like remaking Uncharted 1, which it doesn't need
It'd
a
be like
remake.
remaking God of War for PS5.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to. PS2 to PS3 was a huge jump,
Yeah.
and they at the end of the PS3's life cycle redid the whole series
Yeah.
on that, right? But it's like taking the PS4 God of War, you ported it to PC, and then it would be like making a remake of that now on PS5.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely no reason.
But it's like it's not. See, if it was a remaster, that'd be even dumber to me. I think because it's a remake and it's still being built again from the ground up, that's why I'm like a little more okay with it than normal. Because like it's not just they're not just changing like the textures. I'm pretty sure like I think from 1 to 2, I'm pretty sure the engine changed. So I think like
Yeah, well,
it's
I
gonna
think they
be
built their own engine.
yeah. So
Like
that's
Naughty
why I'm
Dog
like
is like one of the only studios where they actually do that still. I think
yeah. That's why I'm like a little
instead of
more
just
okay
using
with
Unreal
it.
Engine
But
5.
yeah, and Unreal Engine
Yeah,
5 looks freaking sick. So I'm
I
excited
know
for it.
Unreal Engine 5 looks sick. They have a ton of games that they promoted as saying like this is on Unreal Engine 5. Like I'm pretty sure at some point we're gonna come to some uniform agreement that Unreal Engine 5 is the only engine people use,
Yeah.
and Epic is gonna make even more money than they already do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, that was all the announcements from like that first day. Um, and then because there's I'm gonna do I know we're like probably like 45 minutes now or like 50.
52, yeah.
Yeah, we're 50 minutes. I'm gonna run through. I didn't even know this one existed. A future
We'll
game
do
show
lightning
2020.
round until Xbox Day.
Yeah. So this one, I'm just gonna go like down this list because I didn't even know this show existed. I just watched all these trailers earlier today. So I watched this one for Outpost. It's co-op, first person, survival stuff. A lot of the ones for this one were like survival was in the description for some reason. Um, it's like sci-fi, looked kind of cool. There were a couple other games that were kind of like that. They had a horror game. I didn't even watch that trailer, so I'm skipping it. They had a game called Nightingale, which is a PvE survival crafting game. Which again, they had a couple of these that said survival crafting. So I guess that's like there's a big push for that genre
Mm-hmm.
or something. But it's basically you're a realm traveler where you can go to all these different realms, but at some point something breaks and you get stranded. But even though you're stranded, you can somehow still travel realm to realm if you build realm cards. So it's a crafting game because you craft these cards
Mm-hmm.
to go from realm to realm. But the way they described it, it sounds like you don't even have to go to all the realms. Like you could complete your playthrough without hitting every realm. So every playthrough will be fresh if you go to more realms. But you can do every single one in one playthrough and get the full experience also.
Gotcha.
So kind of interesting. It survival's never been like my favorite genre,
Mm-hmm.
but it at least had like a look where I was like, maybe. Tray racers. It's just like it's like a snowboarding game, but you're sitting on a tray, like on a sled. It looks so stupid. It's just it's a multiplayer racing game for the Switch.
That's funny.
Like it looks funny. Your character customization, they showed you the character customization, but the guy's face was always the same. Just a big smile with all fucked up teeth and just spinning around him, showing him different hairstyles and all this. Like, yeah, okay. It's a hard probably not for me.
Yeah.
Uh there was one that I was like, they showed a couple of games all together. And it was from a studio called Quali, I think. They have a farming sim, which they have a bunch of sim games on this too. Die by the Blade, a 1v1 fighter game. That looked cool. That looked pretty cool. It's a fighting game, so it's probably I'd suck at it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lot of sword playing, a lot of like weird like powers and stuff. Sorry. Sorry. All
It's
right.
okay.
Scathe, Doom like FPS. This looked cool also. Doom is a cool game. It's a Doom like FPS. I think that's probably good enough to sell it for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks really cool. Like cool enemies. It was like 30 seconds per game in this video, so you don't get a ton of information. The coolest one though, RoboBeat. It's a first-person shooter, but you sync your gunfire to the music,
Wow.
and you get bonus combo points. So you have to be accurate, but also if you fire your shots
Is it
like
single
boom,
player?
boom, 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 boom. Uh,
Because multiplayer, that'd be
it doesn't
crazy.
say. It doesn't say. All that they showed in the video was single player. Maybe it would be multiplayer
That'd
also
be
though.
crazy
I would love co-op
multiplayer.
in
Yeah.
this. But that's a trailer you might want to check out.
All right.
That was really cool because yeah, it showed you like some of your shots would launch people in the air, and then like you have to time your other shots, and they're bouncing people around, and you see the big numbers coming up, and you see like perfect sync and
Mhm.
stuff when you get like a shot that's in tune with the music. That was a really cool concept. I know they've done other like go along with the music type games,
Mhm.
but for the most part, they've either been mobile or they've been like Parappa the Rappa, which is a good game,
Yeah.
but like it's not a first person shooter, which makes it next level.
Yeah.
And then this was my favorite one from the whole list here was Morbid Metal. It's a roguelike, and you play as this like robot thing that can shift into 4 different characters, made all by one guy. This does not look like a game made by one guy. Or this guy's been making this game since I was born, and he's been slowly updating the engine as new consoles have come out, and it's coming to PC. Just watch this trailer and tell me that this was made by one guy. The name is also like in Leet speak and an accurate, and like it's just like Phonix or Phonex or something like that. I totally believe this could be a team of people just going under the alias of one name. That is 100% what's happening. Prove me wrong somehow. Phonex, call me up and prove to me that you made this game by yourself. It looks way too good to be made by one fucking person. Turbo Golf Racing is Rocket League meets golfing. So you're Rocket Leaguing with a bunch of other people, and you get different powers. Like if you shoot your ball in the wrong direction, you can like grapple it back and then hit it again. It looked kind of cool, but I don't like Rocket League, and I've never been good at it, so I probably won't get it.
Yeah.
But it did look kind of cool. I could see myself if this was a cheap game. I could see myself getting it just so we could fuck around playing it with this couple of friends.
Mm-hmm.
They showed American Arcadia on here with the longer trailer this time. That's how I got more of my information from it. Very cool. Alaskan Truck Simulator. So you're a truck driver, but not only do you drive trucks, you get out of trucks, you fill them up with gas.
Innovative.
Yes, right. You pay the money at the pump. You hook up the trailer, one cable at a time. Don't do it wrong, otherwise it'll probably come loose and kill millions of people.
Yes, sir.
In Alaska, you'll kill like 10 people or like a polar bear or something, but whatever. This one looked kind of cool. Entropy Center. It starts and it's like temperature on Earth today is 100 million degrees or like 1 million degrees Fahrenheit. The Earth is just a ball of fire. You're like on a space station. It looked a lot like Portal.
Oh.
Like Portal 2.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like Portal 2. I mean, you're not using portals, but the perspective, you have like this AI that's talking to you the whole time. I could see this one being kind of cool. It looks more like it's just a game to have fun with.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a puzzle game like Portal with like first person shooter style gameplay. They did games from Ukraine because like obviously there are games using Ukraine. They have they have all that shit going on with Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So they were given. I think every single one of these shows actually gave a shout out to Ukraine studios.
Oh, yeah.
This one has like I know on the first day they did it also. For this one, they went through all the games. There's like 5 games being made in Ukraine right now. I think like most of them are puzzle games, but hopefully they make it through. These studios survive. They don't get like bombed to shit.
Yeah.
Fucking Russia invading them and shit. I am Ukrainian, so it's okay for me to say fuck Russia. I'm half Ukrainian. Wasn't born there. I'm American, but my grandparents, they lived in Ukraine, World War II style, so they had to get the fuck out of there. Then there was there was a game that I couldn't watch the trailer for because they linked the wrong trailer, and I didn't look up the real one. Then they have Brewmaster, and I linked this one to my friend who does microbrewing, and he said it looked really cool. So I guess it's pretty accurate. You just do a microbrew, and I think you also control a brewery. So it's kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you control the theme park, but your really focus is like the roller coasters. It's like that. You're focused on the microbrewing, but you do the other management level stuff. Enemy of the State. This looked kind of cool. This is like a top-down shooter. It's like kind of like point and click. There's like assassinations going on. It just looked really cool. This one's really hard to explain, but it's like almost an isometric view. So you're like from above everything. So you see the whole like battlefield. So you can see where people are hiding, but you have to like move your character around and shoot them and shit like that.
Gotcha.
Horror game. There's this game called Bright Memory Infinite. This one looked kind of cool. It's Xbox exclusive on console. And they'll later be released on PlayStation and Switch. This one just looked cool. It's like a sci-fi. It's like this like sci-fi FPS. They say fast-paced. There's a lot of like in the trailer. This main character used like 12 powers in 2 seconds. You're like blowing the shit out of people. I mean, obviously it's a game tester who knows exactly what they're doing. But it looked like you're using a lot of like awesome shit all in combos and stuff like that. So it looked pretty cool. The Last Faith, a Metroidvania gothic horror. It actually looks like Castlevania, but more gruesome. So like you'll kill an enemy and then you'll punch it a bunch of times on the ground and then you'll rip its head off.
Nice.
But the graphics are more old school, or they're supposed to look old school, but obviously they're on like an updated engine.
Yeah.
You have long range stuff. You have magic spells. Enemies have magic spells. You're jumping around to avoid like ground effects and stuff. It's like Metroidvania, or it's like Castlevania, like for the setting. But it's Metroidvania total style. It looks really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't care about any of these. Serial Cleaners is just a funny concept. Single player stealth action crime game where you control 4 cleaners. Which, you know what a cleaner is?
No.
A cleaner's like if the mob did a hit, the cleaner's the guy that goes in and gets rid of the body.
Gotcha.
So you play as 4 of those people. They're working for the mob in New York City in the 90s, and you're just going and cleaning up a bunch of crime scenes.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's inspired by crime films and like dramas and stuff.
Oh.
Now another sim, airport sim. All right. You're not managing the airport. You're a ground handler. So you're like telling people, yeah, come on here, pointing the baggage people where to go. So you're sending people's bags. They're flying to Europe. You're sending those bags to Hawaii.
Yes, sir.
Let me see here. Arctic Awakening, first-person adventure game. You're a pilot who crash lands in Alaska. You have some robot that crash lands with you, and your goal is to find your co-pilot who's not with you, like your actual human co-pilot. It looked okay. F1 Manager. The only reason I mention this is because I like Formula One now. I've gotten into it. You just take control of an F1 franchise.
I watched some guy on Twitch who plays it. I haven't stuck around for those streams, but maybe I'll check them out. One of
the guys who's a driver for Formula One is a Twitch streamer when
really?
when it's on off season. Yeah, Lando Norris.
That's cool.
So yeah, when the pandemic first hit, you saw it in the Netflix documentary. When he came back, they were like, "Oh, what you been up to?" He's like, "I've just been streaming on Twitch." You know, so they make millions of dollars in their contracts, but he probably makes millions on Twitch because he must have a following globally because F1 is so popular.
Yeah,
just not in America. Divine Knockout is a brawler set in the world of God. So it looks like one of the characters is like basically Hercules, but wielding a big fucking Kaido-like club with those spikes on it. But it looks like you have like Raiden is also in it, like all the gods from different
mythologies.
Yeah, mythologies. Like coming in and just like, and it's chibi looking graphics.
Oh, that's cool.
So fuck this one. Pal World. Pocket Pairs Pal World. Is it
Pokemon?
It's Pokemon. Yeah, it's Pokemon. The premise that sounds like Pokemon. It's just another Pokemon like game. And then that was the last one that they announced. So it looked kind of cool. I mean, the things look cool. The one at the very front of the screenshot looks like a big fucking like fucking thick Raichu. And you have some of the legendary dragons. You got a big deer with like real pointy antlers going forward, and then you got one of the legendary Pokemon just flying above them,
That's
like
funny.
one of the elves, like Azelf and stuff. At least it looks like that, right? Oh, but they have guns.
Oh God,
It's Pokemon with guns.
I hate
I
that.
forgot that part until I read it. I think it's a trailer worth looking at. It's probably like just a fun game to fuck around with.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the lightning round. I know we're like over an hour now, so we're probably
Well, we'll probably have to
gonna
lightning
take
round this
longer.
one, yeah, or take a
Yeah,
little
we can
longer.
make a long episode. It's whatever. So this one was the Xbox one, which they had like longer pieces dedicated to each game, so less games in total. So
Yeah.
that's why we can spend time on it. So they opened strong, at least for me, with Starfield from Bethesda, the team that makes Elder Scrolls and Fallout. It looks a lot like Mass Effect, but like all about the space exploration. So the description is a cross between Fallout and No Man's Sky, but I would say it's more like Mass Effect, to be honest.
Gotcha.
But there are enemies. You are shooting people. I forget the story description that they gave, but like you're basically fighting like this last like crime syndicate in the star system or whatever. But it did look like you're customizing your spaceships, you're launching off planets and stuff, you're flying next to space stations. It just looks like a monumental undertaking. Like this game has clearly been in development for like 7 years. Like it looks massive.
Dang.
Like the scale of this game looks insane. This was 15 minutes of their press conference. Like they showed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm
The game
starting to
looks awesome.
I played New Vegas and it's fun. And
Yeah,
like
my expectations are tempered for this one too, because Bethesda doesn't have the best track record with like like starting new series.
yeah. Like I like Skyrim. I don't think it deserves all the praise it gets. I think it was a fun game. I don't think we need to be getting Skyrim for the 75th time. Like
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I don't think it's that good of a game. I don't even think
And
I've
I know
ever beaten it.
they are working on Elder Scrolls 6 finally. I
Yeah.
think like 13, 14 years
Yeah.
after Skyrim came out. Now, I was working at GameStop when Skyrim came out. Like 8 years, 9 years. I don't know. It's too long.
Yeah.
Too many re-releases of Skyrim. 100%. But I am personally interested in Starfield. I think I'm not sure if it'll ever interest you, but we'll see. I'll
Who
work on
knows?
it with you.
Yeah.
I'll work
Maybe
on
you
you
can
for
write
this
and
one.
convince me.
Yeah, maybe I could. Yeah, we can do that with games. We don't have to do that with just manga and
Yeah.
anime. Second game, Redfall, and I think they've shown this like at other conferences before also. It's from Arcane. I think that's the studio that made Dishonored.
Oh, okay.
So like dystopian is their bread and butter. So this one's all about vampires. Should I hit my mic? I'm not super interested in it. I'm not hugely into vampires.
Yeah.
I don't know. The trailer didn't even really do it for me. I'm sure there are some people out there that are like Redfall is going to be amazing, but I don't know. This would be one where I would definitely wait until it releases and I would watch other people play it before I would personally dedicate like money to buying this game and playing it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I probably should say right at the top also, almost every single game they announced coming to Game Pass day one. Sony needs to step their shit up because these are AAA titles that you can get for what's a subscription? $24 for 3 months or something.
Yeah. Like
so every single one of these games, like, are you fucking kidding me?
Even like the list that Sony gave, it's not even that good. Like it was kind of a disappointing launch, if I'm being honest. And I'm a Sony fan.
I kind of want to end with that. I did want to talk about this. I forgot to add that to talking points. But yeah, we should end with that list too, because especially after this, where like every game that I'm about to announce, I think comes to Game Pass day one.
Yeah.
So you don't have to buy the fucking game. You just download it on your PC and play it. All for like $9 a month, like whatever it is, whatever it breaks down to. Whatever the cheapest version is you can get is definitely less than buying each of these games at $70 in the course of whenever they come out.
100%.
There was Forza, whatever. Minecraft Legends it's supposed to be like the Minecraft dungeon crawler thing. This one's like more action strategy. So you're like back in an overworld more, like kind of free roam. I'm not a huge Minecraft fan in general, but the concept of this game looked cool. Then the king of all simulators, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Everyone loves this fucking thing. Everyone does. People buy $1,000 setups to have the stick and whatever the yokes and the foot pedals and whatever the fuck they're called. Even my friend Barris and Smelly wanted to get it. He was looking them up. He was like, "This game looks so fucking cool," but it's just too expensive to buy all the stuff that you need to play it right. Because you can play mouse and keyboard, but it kills the immersion. It's not a great game by mouse and keyboard. You need all the peripherals.
Yeah.
They showed Diablo 4. Diablo's just always been meh.
Get out of town.
They had a generic announcement of Kojima is going to work with them on a new Xbox game. I mean, his last game was Death Stranding. I didn't bother with it, so.
It's on the list.
Yeah. Plague Tale Requiem's like a sequel. And I guess Plague Tale, the original one, was an unexpected hit, so a lot of people have high expectations for this. I'm not going to lie, it looked pretty cool. This one's like Requiem End of Innocence. The main actress really, acted her heart out on this one. Like it's some crazy shit going on. And you're like brutally killing people.
Dang.
So yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting. I need to look up the original game too, but yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool. Forza 5, they had a second announcement, which was Hot Wheels DLC, which looks funny. If I was into racing games, I'd 100% be getting it. Pentiment. I think I'm saying that right. Obsidian announced this game. It's an adventure game. It's inspired by artistry of 16th century manuscripts. I cannot explain this art style to you. You have to watch the trailer.
All right.
But it's like, it's basically like you hear scratching of quill on parchment whenever their text bubbles pop up. It's not voice acted. It's all text bubble stuff. And it looks more like it's going to end up being like Phoenix Wright, like puzzly. It's more like point and click and you figure stuff out. But the art style is cool, I'll admit. Like, it looks like a game that I would play when it went on major sale. Like, I'd buy it for 50% off and then play it. Grounded is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but a video game of it, where you play as the kids that have been shrunk and you're fighting insects.
That's cool.
It did look actually cooler than I thought it would be. I'll admit that. It did look cooler than I thought it would be. And it's already in early access, I guess. And then this one says finally bringing it out. So it must have been in early access for a long fucking time. Full release in September. It looked interesting. If I end up getting Game Pass, which I'm probably going to have to get it at this point, like with all these games they announced, I would probably end up playing this game. As Dusk Falls. I can't remember. It's an interactive drama. I can't remember much about it. Oh, wait. Yeah, this one seems almost like murder mystery-y. Like, this family's driving through town. All of the actual characters are still images, but other things are animated. So, like, the guy's bending down looking at underneath his car and there's oil dripping. You see it dripping, but the actual guy is a still image. And when they transition, you see like a blur effect, and then it's another still image, blur effect, other still image. There was like a chase sequence, and it's just like one still image, blur forward, another still image, blur forward, another still image. So it looks like it's an artistic kind of game, and I couldn't really tell what the point of the game was or what the gameplay would be at all. It seems a lot like that Disco Elysium game that I played, where it's going to be like you're trying to figure out stuff. It was talking about like a ton of secrets. It looks like a generational game where the family that crashes in this town, you're playing their kids when they grow up, and then the dad is like old and stuff. And then they were saying like none of us left there alive, even the ones that lived. I don't understand the game. It's very weird. It's like interesting, but and then there's Naraka Blade Point, a 60-player melee battle royale. I don't like battle royales. I would play a melee battle royale though, probably. This game looked fucking cool. The things that you were doing Naruto level jutsus back and forth. Cool. There was a dude who was just standing in the field somewhere. Someone attacked him, thinking they got an opening shot. He did like a Marth from Super Smash Bros. Blinked, and then he turned around and countered and knocked them into the next universe.
That's pretty cool.
So that looked pretty cool. It's out on Game Pass on July 19th. No, that's Dusk Falls. This one's June 23rd, so next Friday.
Nice.
So that looks pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to check it out at launch because I have too many other things to play and it would take time. But I'm going to watch people play this on Twitch. 100%. And if this game really sucks me in, I will download this. I will buy Game Pass. I'll download this game.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Arc 2, all I can say is they had Vin Diesel riding a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And then this was the next two games are basically the sleeper hits for me. High on Life, game from the creator of Rick and Morty. It has the same voice actors. Morty is the main gun, it sounds like, because in the trailer, his is the voice you heard. Yeah. And I know that the voice actor that does Morty also does Rick. So hopefully Rick Sanchez also shows up as a voice. But it looked really cool. It's like the guns are their own species and you're trying to help save some of them, but you're using them. Yeah. And like the bullets are their babies. So I guess if they shoot a bullet and it doesn't hit somebody.
That's my kid, but it's easy to make them.
Yeah, it's easy to make more of them. Yeah. It looked pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like you're using like there's a knife one, he's knifey. Yeah. Stab more. You know, it looks really trippy and really awesome, and I'm very excited for this one. It's very comedic, which is always gonna sell me. There's no date on this one, and I don't know if it said at the end of the trailer, but it's not in the text. But this is a game I'm gonna be on the lookout for. And then there was Flintlock, open world action RPG. You're doing some crazy melee combat stuff. You're also using like a shotgun type of gun in your left hand, and you're bouncing around all over the place. It was a lot like the other one from the first one that I recapped. The what was it called? It was Witch something. What was it called? Oh my god!
You lost me.
No, it's the Witchfire one or something. You remember that?
No, Witchfire. Yeah, I just didn't remember the title.
Yeah, it reminded me. It was a lot like that one. This one's third person. Witchfire's first person.
Gotcha.
I think so. This one is like, you're doing a lot of combat stuff. This is another trailer I think you should watch. 100%. They had some other world farming simulator called Lightyear Frontier Fresh Start. It's a simulator, so I don't really care that much about it, but it did look. If I was into simulators, I'd probably play it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be on Game Pass, so I'll be able to download it for free whenever I get it. Well, for free, for whatever Game Pass costs.
Yeah.
The Last Case of Benedict Fox, 2.5D puzzle platformer thing with Metroidvania aspects. I don't know exactly what they mean there, but there's like this weird shadow thing that can like go into Benedict. I guess Benedict Fox is the dead guy, and it relives his memories. And I think the game is you solving a mystery based on this dude's memories. So I think you bounce back and forth between his memories and the real world or something. It had me super duper intrigued. It looked like a game I'd want to play, but I haven't played many games like this. So it's really more the concept of the game got me. And again, Xbox Game Pass. So I'll probably just end up playing it anyway. But there's a lot of like puzzle games coming. I've noticed that theme. Puzzle is like a big genre that seems to be coming. There was this game called Raven Lock. Lock is spelled L-O-K. 3D action game. It looked pretty cool. It seems more like, they say inventive graphics. I don't know if I would have said that, but it looked interesting. It's a game that, I don't know, it didn't really resonate with me, but I thought to myself at the time, yeah, maybe I would check that out. This is a game, again, this is like I'm going to watch someone on Twitch play it before I'd sell myself on it. And then there's Erebon, Shadow Legacy, stealth platformer. This one looked pretty cool. You're like hiding out in like trolley cars that are like on like a almost like a ski lift system, so you're above people. So you drop down into assassinations, you're stalking people from shadows, moving from cover to cover. This one looked really cool. It reminded me a lot of like Thief, but not first person.
Gotcha.
So it's like a non-first person Thief, and it seemed a lot more focused on the killing aspect rather than, like it says, stealth platformer at heart. But I think like a lot of like it's not going to be like you can sneak past these enemies. It's going to be like you sneak up to them and kill them and then move on. Uh, Gunfire Reborn. This just looked like a funny one, to be honest. It's going to be released in October. A rogue light shooter. I don't know what that means. The guns look really cool though, and it's like
I've heard
these
of
like
that game.
cartoony animals
Mm-hmm.
that are the characters that you're playing as. So it's a game that I think I would probably end up picking up. And sorry, I'm not going into super descriptive on these, but we kind of ran out of time.
Yeah.
But also, like, I mean, all these trailers
120.
probably are worth just watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lightning rounding it. There's the Persona 5 Royal announcement. I think that just means it's coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, it's Persona
And that's
5
kinda what
Royal,
they-
Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 3 Portable are all coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, that was the end of the last announcement that they made. And those are games that have been out, so that's not really a new game, but they're coming to Game Pass, meaning if you didn't want to pay $60 for them, you can pay the $9 a month or whatever it is. 12. I think if you go month by month, it might be $15 a month. But if you buy multiple months at a time, it's always discounted. So you can literally all these games I announced or that I just went through, you can play all of them for if you manage to wait till like most of them came out and you played all of them in 3 months, you play all those games for like $25.
Yeah.
Like that's an insane deal. And then now we can end in like 10 minutes on Sony.
Yeah.
So I didn't see the list. So this is more you got to announce this. But I remember you said like Sly Cooper and some other first party Sony made games are not on this list. That is criminal.
Yeah,
that is absolutely criminal.
And like they were hyping up the classics so much. And like I think there's one PSP game on there. Crisis Core is not on the list, and that's crazy to me. It's like one of your most popular.
What's the PSP game Daxter?
No, not that either.
I can't remember what the PSP game is.
Yeah, me
that you said it was on there.
It was something I hadn't heard of really, but it's like I think it's a good launch. It's not a good sustainable thing. Like I would probably not renew the 120 tier, unless things changed.
Is 120 for a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably get that for the first year. Like Sony fanboy support Sony, but it would be with the expectation that they make this system better.
And they did say
they have
every month
game.
games are being added, so it's like, maybe they're just teasing us a little bit, but
they need to step it up to Game Pass levels. Like these are AAA titles, day one Game Pass.
Like Halo Infinite, when the campaign I know the multiplayer is free to play, but when the campaign was out, day one it was on Game Pass already, and that's $60. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they had Hades, they had Yakuza games.
Yeah, that's another thing. My understanding of this PlayStation Plus thing was that it was PlayStation Plus plus PlayStation Now. The Yakuza games were on PlayStation Now, and they're nowhere to be seen on this. I just wanted to play them on PlayStation.
That's super weird. I mean, it almost seems like I bet you those games do come, but it seems like they held them back purposely so that they can say like almost like how we did with recording podcasts in advance to have like a week buffer.
Yeah.
They held some games back, so if they can't release like new content, they're like, "Oh, well, we'll bring Yakuza out. Like release that one on this month or whatever."
Yeah.
And it's like, what a scummy. If that is what they're doing, I don't know that's what they're doing, but if that is what they're doing, that is some shady, scummy behavior there.
Like they have the Jack games on there. That's cool. Maybe they have Ratchet and Clank. I don't think they have Rift Apart. Maybe they do. That one
thinking of their first person titles that are like old school. They should have Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, Crash Bandicoot, like from PS1 times.
That's another thing. I don't even think they have they have the Insane trilogy. I don't think they have the Spyro trilogy. Reignited.
Spyro, big one, was a big one. And they literally did the remaster of that. They had or a remake because the code was so old it was fucking broken or whatever. What are some of the other series like God of War they would need, but they don't have the two PSP ones.
Yeah, which is like whatever, but still,
it's whatever. I mean, it is whatever because
it's whatever. But it was already adapted for PS3, which is the part that upsets me. Like
so they should be able to emulate it. They should be able to stream it.
It was called like
the
God of War
is.
because they did like the God of War collection, and then they did God of War Origin collection on PS3, which was already those two games.
Yeah.
They have Infamous, all of
Infamous.
them. They have like the Festival of Blood and First Light, I think, and Second Son. I think they need like even like Kingdom Hearts. How's that not there?
Yeah, that was PS2 exclusives.
Yeah. Like,
Like until they released them recently on like Epic Game Store for like $400 or something.
yeah. But it's like release the all-in-one collection or something there. And it's like, yeah, because then even if you don't like, I don't know, Birth by Sleep obviously wouldn't be a PSP game because of that, because they could just do the HD version. But like even Crisis Core I think should be on there. Daxter should be on there. I don't know. I think there are a lot of games that have been neglected.
And probably all these games that we're saying will eventually be on the service. But the thing is, like, why would you launch this service without having them up there?
Sony did one thing I
Like,
think better than Game Pass, and it's not even that much better. But with Game Pass, you know a game is leaving a month in advance. We already know a game in September that Red Dead is leaving this much in advance, which I think is nice to know.
Red Dead, the original?
The second one.
Oh, the second one. Okay. I was gonna say if that's the original, then you can finally play that pretty easy.
Yeah. No, so the
Which
second
is
one's
like,
leaving the service in September.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What's it? Yeah. Game Pass does the Netflix system of like they give you like a little like notice on the thing,
Yeah,
like
leaving
a month
soon.
in
Yeah.
advance. Yeah. Like I think on Netflix it's like literally 15 days. They're like this is leaving
Yeah.
Netflix in 15 days. So it's like, oh, I just started episode 1 of House. Let me see. I have 15 days to watch
8 seasons.
7 seasons. Yeah, 8 seasons that are an hour long episode, 20 episodes. I can do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess the service leaves room to be desired, but I'm gonna Sony fanboy and
Yeah, I have
do
already.
that tier just to support them. But yeah, if after my year is coming up, if they haven't added a ton of games, or if they're probably honestly if they're not bringing games day one to that service,
Yeah.
I would downgrade my
Like
tier.
things that are nice, like cool, we got Spider-Man, cool, we got Miles, but it's like nothing has come out. Nothing, I don't know what's coming out the soonest that they could announce day one exclusives with. I think with maybe
Maybe
with Ragnarok,
yeah, I was gonna say God of War
October,
probably. Yeah.
or it's rumored October, but no announcement.
Yeah, no official one or whatever, but yeah, I think that would be the first one where they could say like, yeah, day one you can get it if you have the PSPlus top tier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, decent launch, but not good
and
sustainability, I guess.
and to be honest, I can't remember what Game Pass looked like when it first launched. So maybe these growing pains did exist on Game Pass also. I
Yeah.
don't know if they had any day one releases on Game Pass. They might have introduced that system later on. But I mean, it's almost like, okay, you've seen how Game Pass has evolved. Just start at the evolution
Yeah,
point.
exactly. You don't need to
Right.
start where they started.
Yeah. Like the inverse of the Justice League versus Marvel universe
Yeah.
system, where DC was like, we got to just jump in where they are. That doesn't make any fucking sense. This, when it comes to a service, it's the reverse. Like it makes sense to like include the enhancements that they've made, your competitor has made over time, that have been well received by the general community.
Yeah. Like,
But
yeah,
I think
I think games that are still like $60 are on there, which is cool. Like, shitty game, but like, or I don't know, maybe people like it. Death Stranding Director's Edition, I think that's still 60 and it's on it. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, that's 60, it's still on, or maybe even 70, that's still on there. Like, they're giving you expensive games, but I think like shit needs
like
to
games
change
that
a
have
little
been
bit.
out for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah. Like ones that if you haven't bought them already, you're never gonna buy them. So of course they want to just throw it on this
Yeah.
service,
Exactly.
basically. But yeah, I think we're at Omega time now, so
Oh yeah,
we
1:30.
probably end. Yeah, so we can wrap it up here.
All right.
So,
We'll talk about Overwatch 2 sometime.
oh my god, I watched
I
two.
mean,
I
we
was
got,
like,
listen, it's launched in October. We got time. Next announcement,
yeah,
we can do
we can wait for there to be more content announcements for it too before we
Yeah.
really talk about it.
because I think they're launching with 3 heroes and we know 2 of them, so maybe when the third one comes out, we can talk
We can,
about
yeah, we'll just do like a summary of all of the updates that they've said so far.
it. Yep. All right, well, thanks everyone for listening. You didn't hear it here first. You didn't hear it here last. You heard it here eventually.
Damn straight.